Coming up on CTV News tonight, more lenient access to the red zone and disruptions for road users this weekend. Welcome to CTV News, I'm Rob Cope-Williams. From July, business owners and residents will be able to gain more access to the red zone. Emily Cooper has more.
There's a new access program for the red zone that will allow business owners and residents to retrieve essential items. This single access program will be replacing the current access programs for Christchurch's red zone. Sarah says the access programs have been successful so far, with more than 7,000 people gaining access to the red zone through these programs. The new program will begin from July and will replace the 3 current programs for the red zone, which are the Business Access Program, the Residence Access Program and the Temporary Access Program. Nearly 5,000 people have gained access through the residence and business programs, and over 500 groups have gained access through the Temporary Access Program, which represents around 12,000 building owners and their tenants and about 1,000 contractors. Sarah says there are still potential risks with increasing access to the red zone, especially around demolition sites. As a number of demolitions get underway from July, large portions of the red zone will turn into work sites, with heavy vehicles removing increasing amounts of debris. The new red zone access program does include an application process and requires applicants to provide a plan of what they hope to achieve. Access can be applied for online, but a full engineer's report is needed no matter what colour placard a building may have.
There'll be a few disruptions with traffic around town this weekend, with some road and rail repairs. Here's Emily with more.
Road users can expect delays this weekend as work starts on improving a short but bumpy section of State Highway 1 at the Carman Road railway crossing in Hornby. The work involves replacing both main railway tracks, upgrading the rail level crossing surface and repaving the level crossing road surface. Kiwi Rail says the roads are being repaired for various reasons.
There's a couple of reasons. NZTA are widening the road through Carman Road, so going from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. So we need to widen the level crossing to accommodate that, but also the road surface has deteriorated over the last 2 or 3 years, and so we're trying to improve it. So we're going for the approach of putting a rubber mat in there, which can take the higher loads that Carman Road has, and we're also taking the 3rd track out through Carman Road, so there'll only be two railway tracks through there. So just generally improving the whole area.
Mr Moyle says the repairs are not quake related.
It's just purely deterioration over the last 2 or 3 years. It's such a heavily trafficked road through there and level crossing. It does deteriorate a bit quicker than some other areas.
Carman Road will be closed between Main South Road and Buchanan's Road from midnight tonight and reopen at 7 p.m. on Monday. Traffic will be diverted around the worksite via Parker Street, Gilbert Thorpes Road and Buchanan's Road, and detours will be well marked. Drivers not wishing to access the Hornby area should consider taking alternative routes.
There's potential delays. I think the bypass routes around there are quite good, but being a busy road there will be delays, but I think the benefit of the upgraded crossing will be a huge benefit to that area, so I think that the benefit outweighs the interruption over the weekend, hopefully.
New Zealand Transport Agency Regional Manager Colin Naggs says the road service at Carman Road rail crossing has generated a number of complaints. Kiwi Rail hopes to have the work completed and the road open to all traffic by midnight on Sunday.
Metro Glass Tech installed a glass memorial plaque in our CTV offices this morning. The memorial plaque was the photos of our 16 colleagues who were lost in the CTV building collapse. The plaque was donated to CTV by Metro Glass Tech. We wish to thank Metro Glass Tech and their staff who designed, created and installed the piece. The Christchurch City Council has agreed with a council report recommending that Sumner's Museum and Community Centre and Diamond Harbour's Godley House can't be saved and will need to be deconstructed and demolished. Following the 22nd of February earthquake, further significant damage was caused to the Sumner Museum and Community Centre building. Community Services General Manager Michael Aitken says 2 independent engineering reports have recommended that the deconstruction and demolition is the only practical option available. Mayor Bob Parker says while the building can't be saved, It's hoped that the process will enable the careful recording and retrieval of some heritage details. Many personal and museum collection items have already been retrieved. Sumner Museum building was built in 1907 and is the former Sumner Borough Council chambers. Coming up after the break, Pete Smith hits the street in Street Talk to ask about the AMI Stadium. Welcome back. There are rumours around town about the state of AMI Stadium. Pete Smith hit the streets today in Street Talk to ask, do you want to know what's happening with AMI Stadium?
The City of Christchurch is alive with rumour and gossip as to what is the actual state of AMI Stadium. Now remember, we own it as ratepayers, it's ours. It doesn't belong to a private company, it's us. And the stories that we're hearing is that we know about the ground, but the structural damage to the stands is, as I understand it, horrific. Now we need to know the true state of that place because, as I say, we own it. Why are we getting nothing? We know that there's been structural engineer reports made on it. Why are they not made public? That's the Street Talk question today. We're going to ask, are Canterburyans concerned about their rugby ground called AMI Stadium? Are you concerned about what is the actual state of AMI Stadium?
I think everybody has a share of concern in that, and I would personally like to know whether it's fixable, whether or not.
Or we can use the magic word munted.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of rumour and gossip going around about the true state of AMI Stadium. Have you heard some of that?
No, I haven't really, but I heard that it was a bit of a mess, but yeah.
No.
The question of the day today is that the gossip going around town and the rumour going around town is that AMI is not in good shape at all. Have you heard that?
Well, I've heard they've had to take out a loan.
There's a lot of rumour and gossip going around the town right now that AMI Stadium is in worse shape than we have been told. Have you heard any of that gossip?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
No.
Yes.
Around?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've heard a bit of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What have you heard?
Just that the pitch isn't good.
Yep. What have you heard?
I've heard that it's not usable and there's a huge amount of work to be done car parks wise, actual stadium wise.
Yeah, now the other rumour going around is that they are likely or may even shift it altogether from where it is.
Oh, well, that would be the greatest concern.
And no, I haven't heard of that.
No. So
Shift what? The stadium?
AMI Stadium.
No.
Yep. That's serious. Yeah. So
where would you put it?
Well, they'll have to find some land, but
But of course they're talking about moving some infrastructure, sporting infrastructures up near J Stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't be too pleased about that.
No, I wouldn't think you would be too pleased.
No, the whole stadium.
The whole stadium.
Good Lord.
Now, we need to know. We're paying for it for the next 30 years.
Quite right.
Yeah.
Quite right. It's part of our heritage, isn't it?
That is
stadium?
indeed.
Yeah.
Now, we know the ground's no good. I mean, that's fine. They've been honest about that. It's going to cost $4.1 million. But the information I have is that it's the actual structure of the stands. Now, we're paying for this for 30 years as ratepayers.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we know?
Yeah, definitely. But I think regardless of the option, we still need a stadium of good calibre here in Christchurch.
Quite right. It'd be nice to know and when they're going to start playing again.
Yeah,
It'd be
that's right.
superb.
Oh, I think we should, yes.
Yes, but I guess it'll take its place in the queue with everything else
Yeah, but
and get done eventually.
Definitely.
Yeah. Then I think we should put some pressure on to find out, shouldn't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see any reason why we can't. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Right.
Yeah.
So we should put the pressure on to find out?
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, if we're paying, we should be right to be given the answers. So yeah, definitely.
Well, I probably should do, yeah.
Because you're a ratepayer?
Yeah.
You own it?
Yeah.
And you've got 30 years to pay for it?
Yeah.
Now,
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I've already lost out enough on it, haven't we?
well, that's right. You're dead
We've
right.
lost the World Cup, so I mean that's just another blow, really, isn't it?
Of course we should.
You're a ratepayer?
Yes.
You're paying for it for the
Yes.
next 30 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we should put some pressure on to find out, shouldn't we?
Yes.
Yeah. You would like to know what is
Yes.
the state?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose it'd be interesting. But the only thing is I don't follow football at all.
Doesn't matter. You're paying for the stadium for the next 30 years.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So whether you go or not is irrelevant, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
So you'd like to know more?
Well, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, does anybody really know? I'd have to ask the structural engineers
Well,
or
the,
the people
report,
who...
the reports are out. Why don't we get them?
Oh, well.
Oh, they won't tell you.
Why not?
Well, it's like everything else here. Everything's done behind closed doors, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but we own it.
I know we do, but still we all decide behind closed doors.
You reckon you're never going to know?
No, I don't think we'll ever really know the truth.
You just keep paying.
Well, yes, I mean, let's have the facts, and then we can make a decision.
An explosion in affluence in India and China means that the Canterbury farmers will be the ones who benefit.
Well, things are changing there dramatically, Rob. Between India and China, they're moving 300 million, that's 300 million people, out of the poverty line into middle class. Now that means that they also have some money and they have some choices of what they consume. And so their diets and their behaviour and their consumption will just change. And that's a huge opportunity for the rest of the world to trade with these extra 300 million. And that's, if you think about it, that's about 5 times the population of the UK. All of a sudden they are a target market with some money, and they will be keen to improve their lifestyles from where they've been by spending some of that money. And so we in the West can start thinking about providing for them.
Because that's a commodity, isn't it? I mean, it's going to be right across the whole world supply.
Well, it is, but it's an all of a sudden increase in the consumption of these commodities, because a lot of these people in poverty situations have virtually been on subsistence things. They haven't been great consumers. They haven't bought cars, for instance, or refrigerators, televisions, and they haven't enjoyed some of the better foods. So that's a huge challenge and a huge opportunity.
Grain prices looking pretty good.
Yes, Rob, they're holding very firm on the basis of lower yields from last harvest, but that's just one side of things. It's being tempered a little bit by some very, very good maize grain yields in the North Island, and where they're expecting about 10 tonne per hectare, they're getting about 13 tonne per hectare, and with the late harvest up there and the drying, it's only really come onto the market in the last month, and so some of those tonnages are quite high, and that maize price has reduced based on those supplies. Mm-hmm. There's also the palm kernel lurking in the background.
Lurking
in the background, used as a weapon against grain farmers to keep the prices down. And but there is an increase in demand for the Malaysian stuff, and it is increasing in price. We're looking at around about $3.25 a tonne now, and we all know the relative feed values one to the other. And palm kernel in my book doesn't stack up, and a lot of other farmers' books doesn't stack up. The other thing is the high strength of our dollar, specifically against moving against Australia, in terms of Australia having 12 million tonnes of feed wheat left over from last year. So the rest of the world knows that it's there as well, but the shipping cost to New Zealand would be a lot less than Europe, and so that is potentially tempering the price just a little bit.
Canetta Knight spoke to Dr Wallace Bell from Smoke Free and ex-smoker Torrin Moffat about stress from the quakes leading to picking up the smoking habit again.
Some stats have said there's been a slight increase, or if you look at the number of people who've rung the quit line, that's gone down a little bit, so that would tell you that possibly a few people have taken up the habit again or started smoking again because of the quake.
What is it about smoking that people sort of go to, you know, when they're stressed? Why do they pick up the cigarette again?
Well, I think it's old comforts or things that they know and have used before that have helped them through stressful periods. So I suppose in those moments when you're stressed and, you know, in those really, really moments where you can't think of doing anything else, that's the thing you go to. It's the easiest thing to go to. Mm. It's something you remember that you used to use to cope.
Yeah, and do you think, do you know what the numbers would be of people starting smoking after this kind, you know, stressful time?
Relapsing, you mean?
No,
or
going, you know, picking up for the first time, yeah.
For the first time, I don't know. I can't imagine there would be many, actually.
Really?
Not many people start in their adulthood. In their later years. Most people start when they're quite young. That's your story, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you started when you were quite young.
Now, Torrin, you are an ex-smoker.
Yes.
How long have you been an ex-smoker for?
I'm very happy to say about 3 weeks this time. I did pick the cigarette up about 2 weeks after the February earthquake. I had made a New Year's resolution to give up smoking at the start of this year, which I did, and was very disappointed in myself when I did reach for the cigarettes at the end of the day. So I thought I need help, and I thought I'll go back to where I had given up previously, which was my with my medical centre and the practice nurse, and they run a giving up smoking with habitual program here through patches and lozenges.
Okay.
So
you had given up for about 6 or more weeks after? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
In the new year.
Yeah.
Just for health reasons, decided that's enough. Want to quit, and so yeah, as I say, when I picked it up again, very disappointed. Didn't feel good on them. Energy lapses. So once I've been on these, just find my energy's a lot more balanced, consistent. Yeah.
Were you surprised that you didn't sort of start smoking straight away after the earthquake, or was it, you say 2 weeks after the earthquake? Why was it 2 weeks after?
Because I was determined not to. I thought the earthquake's not going to make me pick them up again. But once again, for that reason, somewhere there was, I'll just have one, it'll be all right. And it's not all right. If I'm smoking, it's not 1 or 2. I end up sort of a packet, 20, and not good.
Is that a day?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think
that's how addictive it is on me.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of people talk about that if you just had to have it one, and people were thinking that after the quake, one won't hurt, and why not? Because it's a stressful time, but that will bring back that addiction again, and those neurons in the brain just fire off, and before you know it, you're back to 20 a day. So
no
it sounds
control.
like you thought to yourself, no, I'm not going to let that happen.
Yep. Want to stop
you know where it would lead to.
Knock it on the head. Yeah.
So Mark, if other people like Torin, what would you say to them? Like, they've given up smoking, and because of the stress of the earthquake, they've picked it up again. I mean, Torin, she has stopped smoking again. But what would you say to the people who are still smoking?
Well, I think just do what Torin's done in her own mind, which is actually think, well, why take it up again?
Carry on.
That's going to be dangerous. And then thinking back to why I gave up in the first place. And for you, it was health reasons. For some people, it will be the cost of smoking, which is getting more and more every day. Every year, we see the prices rising. And I think go back to those reasons, those personal reasons as to why you wanted to quit in the first place. And in fact, smoking again in response to the earthquake is only going to reinstate the addiction, probably make your problems worse, not better, in the long run.
Is it all about willpower, giving up?
No, I think it's all about willpower. I think you need to have that personal motivation, that conviction, the personal reasons to quit. And once you've got that, you need a bit of support as well. It's not about doing it all on your own, is it?
And that it's all right to ask for help. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, the other thing, when I was thinking of giving up again, I noticed a lot of advertisements for quit line and things like that. But I thought, no, I'll go back to where I went before, because it worked before, as in,
Welcome back. Canterbury Hockey's chief executive has resigned, which is a major blow for the organisation. Corey Charlton has more.
How you going, Corey?
Tim Shanahan has resigned as Canterbury Hockey's CEO after nearly 4 years in the role. Appointed in October 2007, he oversaw the development of 2 new hockey fields at Marist Park and Nunwick Park. The role, despite its challenges, he says he has thoroughly enjoyed.
It's been a challenge to come into a sport that wanted to grow, wanted to be more commercial, wanted to, I guess, adopt some of the principles that I was used to working with within the Australian sports sector. So it's certainly had its challenges, but it's also had some significant rewards, and I think the fact that we've achieved a new field here at Nunwick Park in the wake of the earthquake is a really nice achievement that I can finish with and be pleased with the contribution made to the sport of hockey in Canterbury.
Unfortunately, the September 4 earthquake last year destroyed the 2 previously existing fields at Porritt Park.
The earthquake was a significant factor on hockey. To lose your 2 premier playing surfaces on September 4 at Porritt Park and basically put your sport in jeopardy in the immediate short term was a huge challenge. When you only have 4 fields and you lose half of them overnight, and you've got 4,000 participants, and according to national guidelines they are requiring 5 if not 6 fields for that number of participation, we were in all sorts of trouble.
To alleviate the shortage, Canterbury Hockey was able to develop a new field at Nunwick Park to help deliver a 2011 playing season. But he has now decided it is time for him to move on and allow someone else to oversee the Porritt Park replacement.
I didn't feel I was being fair to myself, to my family and to Canterbury Hockey to put my hand up and say I was going to lead the organisation over the next 9 months to achieve that outcome when I didn't feel I had the same level of passion and enthusiasm. So it's I do feel that I'm letting people down, but I also feel it's the right decision and it's going to ultimately be the best decision for Canterbury Hockey, and if nothing else, at least I know that right to the end the decisions I'm making are in the best interests of Canterbury Hockey.
Mr Shanahan said he will continue his role in the immediate future until a suitable replacement is found.
That's CTV News. I'm Rob Cope-Williams.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.